let's actually put the focus on Borosil then, because it's been a good quarter coming in for the counter. That is Borosil Limited for you. And we have the management of Borosil Limited joining us right now on the show. We have Mr. Shreevar Kheruka, who's the MD at Borosil, joining us. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And firstly, you've reported a good growth in this quarter. In the quarter gone by, if you look at your revenue as well, your EBITDA margins, but they've remained flat when you look at the entire year, that's FY24. If you tell us what are the factors that have contributed to this and how are you looking at the outlook going ahead?
Well, thanks for having me. As far as the growth is concerned, I think we've had a very strong year of revenue growth. And I would say that has been contributed by various new products that we have introduced in the market. We've set up, new capacity for manufacturing opal glassware, which has done, which has led the way from a growth perspective. Moreover, we've also had a great, let's say, growth in various channels. So whether it be trade or, the large format stores or even e-commerce, all channels have been growing quite steadily. And I think, we see the consumer demand being strong, and we hope, that it's just the beginning of our journey here.
But then, sir, if you could just give us some guidance when it comes to what is the kind of revenue growth that you're seeing for FY25? Is there more room for margin expansion also in the current financial year, that is FY25?
So we've always been guiding a medium-term, revenue growth of between 15 to 20%. And that's something that we believe we should be able to achieve. Any one year, it's hard to say what we'll do in any specific year. Some years, the last couple of years have been better. But overall, I would say 15 to 20% is a good ballpark estimate for growth. In terms of margin expansion, I think we are very focused on growing our share in the pie, and therefore we've been spending a lot of money, more than say normal, from advertising and sales promotion. So our A&P spends are about 8% of revenues, which is quite high, if I compare to peers in the industry. And I think that is likely to continue. We're also investing in our teams, in R&D capabilities and so on. So we do have higher costs than, what would normally be there. But because the goal is looking, out from a 5 or 10 year horizon, rather than looking at a quarter or a yearly kind of profitability. So margins will expand as growth happens, primarily due to operating leverage.
When it comes to the opalware side, you have seen a sales growth of nearly 37% in FY24. But due to increased competitive intensity, are you seeing some pressure on pricing, and thereby the margins could also remain under pressure for this specific segment?
No, I think opalware is a market where the demand is quite strong. And in principle, I think, the market is not seeing, overtly high competitive intensity. There is, a high level of competition in general. There are quite a few players in the market, but I think the players are all mature. It's a very high Capex business, and even your maintenance Capex is quite high. So in order to manage the Capex, you must make, reasonable, EBITDA margins. Otherwise, you don't have the cash to keep reinvesting in rebuilding our furnaces and so on. So while the margins optically look high, we look at the business from a return on capital employed perspective, and that's our challenge, is to increase our return on capital employed to north of 20%.
Right. So let me talk about your capacity utilization. If you could tell us what's your current capacity utilization at the manufacturing plants that you have right now, and also what would be the peak revenue potential that you will actually achieve if the capacity utilization is at entire 100% for your company. And also let me add to that, any Capex plans going ahead?
Okay, so as far as opal is concerned, our peak capacity utilization, we are at about 80% capacity utilization. So I think we could add another, say, 25% of revenue on the opal ware side of the business and that's when we would be, at full capacity utilization. We just launched a borosilicate furnace a couple of months ago, which was, announced. And here our capacity utilization is only about 25 or 30% at the moment. We will, of course, scale up with new products which are coming in. So we can go 3 times in terms of our glassware sales with the current capacity that we have. There are other products which we have, which are, for example, home appliances, as well as, steel products, which are currently contract manufactured. And here we have enough capacity available to achieve our 15 to 20% CAGR growth, as I've already shared. So overall, we have just finished most of our capex. This year, it's about 100 crores that we will do, which is for some debottlenecking in our operations, as well as trying to reduce our costs of energy by solar power plants, which will allow us to reduce the cost of electricity that we buy. But overall, 100 crores is for this year. And of course, as we increase capacity utilization, then in the coming years, there will be more capex, which we will do.
Lastly, you're currently present in around 24,000 outlets. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that number. And do you see further scope for expansion of distribution outlets going forward?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I think we should be having a market size of at least 40 to 50,000 retail outlets that we can cover. So I think that's an area where we have started putting more attention. For example, last year we added maybe about 2,500 retail outlets, and I expect that pace to increase in the coming years. So our goal with our product portfolio now in hand is that we should at least be at 40,000 plus retail outlets.
All right, and good luck for that going ahead. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now to talk about the quarter gone by for Borosil and where you see the road ahead for your company. That was the Managing Director at Borosil Limited joining us on the show. That is Mr. Shreevar Kheruka, who spoke about Borosil's outlook going ahead. But let's move on then, and let's put the spotlight on the elections and days ahead of polling in Punjab, or rather, let me talk about the Election Commission. It said that Jammu and Kashmir has recorded the highest voter turnout in Lok Sabha polls in the last 35 years. The 3 seats in the valley, that's Srinagar, Baramulla, as well as Anantnag, Rajouri, recorded the highest turnout in last 3 decades at about 58.5%.
And days ahead of polling in Punjab, AAP finds out itself in yet another row. BJP candidate circulates obscene video of Punjab AAP's Balkar Singh. NCW has issued a notice against the leader. BJP has demanded his resignation while other parties chimed in.
And Kolkata set to vote in the final Lok Sabha election phase on June 1st. Prime Minister will hold his first roadshow in this poll season in Kolkata. Then he will go ahead and travel to West Bengal for 2 days.
Well, 3 days ahead of the last phase of polling in Lok Sabha election, PM Modi doubles down on attacks from opposition parties in conversation with news agencies. He clears the air on government standing on the reservation row. Listen into what he had to say.
चुनाव मेरे SC, ST, OBC और अति पिछड़े भाई बहनों को, क्योंकि इनको अंधेरे में रख करके ये लोग लूट चला रहे हैं। और चुनाव एक ऐसा समय है कि जो सबसे बड़ा संकट आ रहा है, उससे देशवासियों को मुझे जागरूक करना चाहिए। और इसलिए मैं आग्रहपूर्वक जनता जनार्दन को समझा रहा हूं, क्योंकि ये 2 चीज़ें हो रही हैं। एक, भारत के संविधान की मूल भावना का हनन हो रहा है। संविधान की मर्यादाओं को तार-तार कर दिया जा रहा है, और वो भी अपनी वोट बैंक की राजनीति के लिए।
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.